At 70, I finally see it clearly. The career choices I made with confidence decades ago didn't just shape my work life. They quietly determined my retirement, my relationships, and the freedom I thought I'd have by now. Some costs don't show up until it's too late to undo them. I was 28 when I got my first real promotion. Manager, corner office, a salary that finally felt like I'd made it. My father shook my hand that night, told me he was proud. My mother cried. I remember thinking this was it, the beginning of everything I'd worked for. The corporate ladder stretched above me, and I was ready to climb every single rung. So I said yes. Yes to the longer hours, yes to the weekend strategy meetings, yes to the relocation across 3 states because that's what serious people did. I told myself this was security. This was how you built a life that couldn't be shaken. Every promotion felt like proof I was doing it right. Every sacrifice felt temporary. I believed the hardest years were behind me, and soon I'd reach a place where I could finally rest. But that place never came, because with every step up, the stakes got higher. The expectations grew heavier. I started saying yes, not because I wanted to, but because I didn't know how to stop. I'd built my entire identity around being the person who delivered, who never complained, who made it happen no matter what. And once you become that person, people expect it from you. They depend on it, and you start to believe that's all you're worth. Looking back now, I see what I didn't see then. That first big decision, the one to chase the ladder at any cost, wasn't just one choice. It was the template for every choice that followed. It taught me that success meant sacrificing, that security required suffering, that the only way to prove my value was to give more and more of myself until there was almost nothing left. I didn't climb a ladder. I locked myself into a pattern I couldn't escape, even when I wanted to. By my early 40s, I knew something was wrong. I'd wake up exhausted, not just tired, hollowed out. The work wasn't fulfilling anymore. It hadn't been for years, but I stayed. I told myself it was loyalty. I told myself I was being responsible. I told myself I'd invested too much to walk away now. And underneath all those reasons was the one I didn't want to admit. I was afraid. Afraid I was too old to start over. Afraid no one would hire me somewhere else. Afraid that leaving would mean admitting I'd wasted years of my life. So I stayed in a job that drained me, month after month, year after year. I stayed through the stress headaches and the sleepless nights and the slow creeping realization that I didn't recognize myself anymore. I stayed because staying felt safer than the alternative. But staying wasn't safe. It was costing me more than I understood. My energy disappeared. My health started to slip. High blood pressure, back pain, a diagnosis I should have taken more seriously. I stopped doing the things I used to love. I stopped spending time with people outside of work. My world shrank down to emails and deadlines and meetings that could have been nothing. And all the while, I told myself I was doing the right thing. I told myself it would be worth it. I told myself I just had to hold on a little longer. I finally left at 53. Not because I found the courage, but because my body forced me to. A health scare that I couldn't ignore. And when I walked out of that office for the last time, I felt relief. But I also felt rage. Rage at how much time I'd given away. Rage at how long I'd stayed in a place that didn't value me. Rage at myself for not leaving sooner. Those years are gone now. I can't get them back. and that's a cost that doesn't show up on any balance sheet. When I was younger, I thought meaning could wait. I thought you worked hard first, earned your money, built your security, and then, later, you did the things that mattered. So, when I had to choose between a higher salary and work that actually meant something to me, I took the money. Every single time. I told myself I was being smart, practical. That meaning was a luxury I'd earned the right to pursue once I had saved enough. But the truth is, I was scared. Scared that choosing meaning over money would make me look foolish. Scared I'd regret it. Scared I wouldn't be able to provide for my family the way I thought I should. So I kept choosing the paycheck. And with every choice, I moved further away from the person I wanted to be. I spent decades building someone else's vision. I solved someone else's problems. I made someone else's company successful, and I was good at it. I won awards. I got bonuses. People respected me. But when I finally retired and the work was over, I looked around and realized I had no idea who I was anymore. I'd spent so long being what my job needed me to be that I'd forgotten what I actually cared about. Retirement was supposed to be freedom, but it felt like standing in an empty room. I had money, yes, I had security, but I had no passion, no purpose, no sense of what I was supposed to do with the rest of my life. I'd spent 40 years thinking meaning could wait, and now that I had the time, I didn't know where to find it. That's the cost of chasing money over meaning. You don't just lose the work you love. You lose the person who loved it. I used to wear exhaustion like a badge of honor. Late nights at the office, skipped lunches, working through weekends and holidays. I told people I thrived under pressure. I believed my body was built for this. And when friends or family expressed concern, I waved them off. I was fine. I was strong. I'd rest when I retired. But your body doesn't forget. It keeps a record of every missed meal, every sleepless night, every month you pushed through pain instead of listening. And one day it presents you with the bill. For me, it was my heart, a warning that came without much notice. Suddenly, I was sitting in a doctor's office, hearing words like stress and damage and irreversible. Suddenly, I was 70 years old, and the retirement I'd worked so hard for was shadowed by limitations I'd created myself. I can't do the things I thought I'd do. Travel is harder, energy runs out faster. There are days my body simply says no, and I have no choice but to listen. And the cruelest part is knowing I did this to myself. I ignored every signal. I pushed through every warning. I sacrificed my health for a career that replaced me 3 months after I left. No one tells you this part. No one warns you that the price of overwork doesn't come due until you're standing on the other side, holding a retirement you can't fully enjoy. If I could go back, I'd work less. I'd sleep more. I'd take the vacation days. I'd treat my body like it mattered, because it does. It's the only one I get. And I can't undo the damage now. I missed my daughter's recital because of a client meeting. I missed my son's graduation because of a work trip I didn't really need to take. I missed anniversaries and birthdays and quiet Tuesday nights when my wife just wanted me home. And every time, I told myself it was temporary. I told myself they'd understand. I told myself I was doing it for them, for our future, for security, for the life we'd have once I finally made it. But relationships don't wait for you to be ready. They don't pause while you chase the next promotion. The people you love learn to live without you. They stop expecting you to show up. They stop inviting you in. And by the time you turn around and reach for them, The distance is too wide to cross. My kids are grown now. They're kind to me. They call. They visit. But we're not close the way I always imagined we'd be. There's a gap between us I can feel but can't name, and I know it's because I wasn't there when it mattered. I was there for the big moments, sometimes, but I wasn't there for the small ones, the bedtime stories, the homework struggles, the quiet conversations that build trust. I outsourced those years to my wife, thinking I'd make up for it later. But there is no making up for lost time. And my marriage, it survived, but barely. We're together, but we're not the same. She built a life that didn't need me because I taught her she couldn't count on me. I taught her my work came first, and now, even though I'm retired and home every day, we're still learning how to be together again. It's awkward, it's painful, and it's entirely my fault. I sacrificed the people I loved most for a career that didn't love me back. That's a cost I'll carry for the rest of my life. I thought I'd prepared for everything. I had savings. I had a plan. I knew exactly when I'd retire and how much I'd need to live comfortably. I did the math. I talked to advisors. I checked every box. But I never once asked myself what I'd actually do when work was over. I never prepared for life after the job title disappeared. Retirement hit me like a wall. Suddenly, I had 40 years of time and nothing to fill it with. I didn't have hobbies. I'd never had time to develop them. I didn't have close friendships outside of work. I'd let those fade. I didn't have a sense of identity that wasn't tied to my career. For decades, when someone asked who I was, I told them what I did. Now I don't do anything, and I don't know how to answer that question anymore. The loneliness surprised me most. I thought retirement would feel like freedom, but it feels like isolation. My old colleagues moved on. My industry changed without me. I'm not needed anymore. And that's a strange thing to sit with at 70, the realization that the thing you spent your whole life building doesn't miss you at all. If I could go back, I wouldn't tell myself to avoid ambition or hard work, but I would tell myself to build a life outside of work while I still had time. I'd tell myself to invest in friendships, to find things I loved doing just for the joy of it, to create an identity that could survive retirement, because the job ends. It always ends, and when it does, you need to know who you are without it. I didn't, and now I'm 70 years old, still trying to figure that out.